So you know what I realized the other day? I haven't done a layout share in a very long time. In fact, it has been months since I did a layout share. Now, I think there's probably too many here to share all in one video, so this is going to be a two-parter. First part will be today, and then next part will be next week. So if you don't already subscribe to my channel, make sure you do subscribe so you don't miss part 2. And let's just dive into these stacks of finished layouts. So how about we start off with some Christmas layouts? This one is actually photos from a couple of years ago. And this layout you probably haven't seen, or most of you haven't seen, because I made it inside the Creative Design Team membership. So this was part of a Mink class that I did. So all of this is Mink foiling, except for the pattern paper. This is the Season of Elegance paper from Stampin' Up. But all of my embellishments are Mink foiled. And then I have some more of those pretty stars over on this side. And my title is Mink foiled. I really got back into my Mink this past Christmas season. I incorporated it into my December daily, which is still in progress. I had some unexpected things come up and I just didn't have the time to set aside to finish it. I'm hoping this spring I can get it finished. It's still here in my December daily cart. I got up to like day 15 or so, and it is coming, but I probably won't be sharing my complete walkthrough until the fall. Because I think everyone's probably December daily'd out by now, but I hope that the layouts are a good inspiration for you. I like how everything is so simple on this layout. I was really focusing on all the Mink stuff. So pattern paper is minimal and a ton of photos. I do enjoy layouts like this. I don't make them all the time, where the layout is quite simple, but there's just a ton of large photos. I think for Christmas, it's a really good way to squeeze in as many photos as possible. I don't know about you, but Christmas morning, I have so many pictures and it's really hard to choose which ones to use. Here is another Christmas one, and there is a video on my channel for this one. I will try to make sure I link these videos down in the description, but you can also just scroll through my last half year or so of videos to find the ones that I'm talking about. This one was all about scraps. So I used scrap pieces of paper to make these ornaments, kind of like a collage style ornament. And I really love how this turned out. And then I put like gold paint marker around there and some stamping in the corners. Lots of stamps. These are Stampin' Up stamps. I'll try my best to remember like collection names and things, but I'm not always the best with names. And then on this side, we have some more of those. And then we have some of these little gems. They have gold sparkles kind of inside of them, and then also some iridescent flakes. So really pretty, perfect for a Christmas layout. And again, we have a fairly simple background, lots of white cardstock, which is my go-to. And then this whole mass of photos in the middle. This was us decorating our tree. And something you may also notice as we go through, there's a lot of pages that are waiting for journaling. Because in my workflow, sometimes I add the journaling, a lot of times I don't. By the time I get my layout finished, I'm kind of done and ready to move on. So these go into some black paper trays that are in my Calyx unit, and then I fill those trays up, and then I will sit down all at one time and do a whole bunch of layouts. And then they get filed into the Iris container for that year. And right now, I really need to do that. So once I've filmed this video, they will be ready to be journaled on and put away. The next 3 layouts are actually part of the Reindeer Memories Scrapbooking workshop from Stampin' Up. This one I did a video on my channel because I switched some things up. I added some extra stamping, and so this one is a video on my channel. Now, when my layouts are waiting to go into the album, I also keep any flip flaps that I'm planning to attach with that layout. So I just put them on top, and that way I know I had planned to use flip flaps. And when I go to put these in the page protectors, then I can put these onto the outside of my page protectors. You can put them right on your page, but then you need to cut slits in your page protector to make the flap work. Stampin' Up! Is carrying flip flaps now in several sizes, so that is awesome. They are such a good way to add more photos, more journaling. That is where that story is hiding out. This was kind of a side story for this day, and then my main story is going to go here. I really love these little like stars kind of dripping down from the top on this Christmas Eve. And I did add some glitter paper, these really thin strips of glitter paper. I don't know what it is about that, but I really love it. And it's such a nice way to add just a little bit of twinkle. Here I have the gold paint pen again on my star. I added some stickles for the ornaments on here. And then these sweet little peppermint candies. If you didn't get your hands on those during Christmas time, I believe they are still on the website now. Could not keep them in stock. They would like restock and sell out and restock and sell out. They were super popular with good reason because they are adorable. Got some more of those. This stamp I used a couple of different times. I really love this stamp set. It is from the Reindeer Memories stamp set that is kind of put together with all of the scrapbooking stuff because it has scrapbooking titles on it. It has some journaling lines, and also it has these cute little stars or snowflakes or whatever you want them to be. And that set is on sale right now for $13. It's such a good deal because it's in the last chance section. So there's layout 1 from that workshop with a few of my own tweaks. Here is the next layout from that workshop. When I do these workshops with my customers live on Zoom, I do like to add extra details or switch things around. This one, I actually stamped this little present image, which is from that same Reindeer Memories stamp set. And then I moved around the photos. I added an extra photo, and I had a lot to say about this day. It's not necessarily Christmassy, but it did happen during Christmas time. And there was a lot that went with this story. So you can see my journaling is typed because I wanted to fit a lot on there. And we got some paper weaving on there. Really nice big title. I do love that the new Stampin' Up! Scrapbooking products have stickers again. I have missed stickers, sticker titles, phrase stickers, all those kinds of things. We got more of those peppermint candies and lots of journaling. I do like that I can still see the pattern paper showing beneath that. And then we have these stickers from the sticker sheet over here. They are cardstock stickers, so they're matte. You don't get that shine off of them, and they just look like paper. And then here is the third layout from that kit. And I was in love so much with that stamping that I just had to continue it. So we have some up here in this corner. I did tone on tone, and I believe this is Pool Party. So I just stamped it right on there. So it wasn't super bold and standing out, but just some extra detail. I made it go across to the next page and then also over in this corner. We have more stickers from the sticker sheet again, and then I brought in some twine. I just did a double row and then did a double bow as well. I love the extra texture that that brings along with our little peppermint candies. I think this one is pretty similar to how it was shown in the guide, just with a couple of little tweaks. The scrapbooking workshops do come with a full guide. It has cutting diagrams, it has photos, it has instructions about how to put it together, including measurements so you know like how far up or how far in to place things. Whether you are a beginning scrapbooker or maybe you just are busy and don't have time to start from scratch all the time, it's a really great way to get layouts done a little bit more quickly. I did bring that bow detail over here along with the peppermints and over here. I usually like to repeat my elements across the page. Usually 3 times is kind of like my happy place. The peppermints I just kind of added to all of my clusters. Now this was also a Christmas morning, and so I had way more photos than what I could fit here, and I brought in a Pocket Plus. So this is like a page protector that is divided. I love this style because I use portrait 3x4s all the time, and I love that I can fit 12 photos in here, or I could fit photos and journaling depending on what I'm working with. But I love that I was able to show so many of the presents that she got that year for Christmas, And this is hole punch, and it has the extra wiggle room here. So if you like using post-bound albums like I do, these will lay nicely in your albums. But when it goes in, it will look something like that when this is in my album. So it'll be laying there like that, and then you just flip it over. You could see all the photos. And it's next to flip flaps. It's my other favorite way to add extra things to a layout. And that way I don't have to do multiple layouts from Christmas morning, but I still feel like I get a very good representation of all the photos that I wanted to use. Here's another Christmas page. I think this is the last Christmas one. I do have a video on my channel for this one. I used the 6x6 paper called Take a Bow and the CDT Sketchbook with the patterns that work with 6x6 papers. We have several sketchbooks now, including 3 that have 12x12 patterns, and one of them, our newest one, has patterns that use 6x6 paper. I will put a link to those down below for you. But it's a fairly simple page because I used full sheets of 6x6. So super easy. I did ink the edges with black just to add some distinction between the patterns. I also double matted my photos with white and black. And then I just use some die cuts to easily finish off my page. This title was done in Canva before I ever printed my photo. So I love doing that sometimes, especially when I have a picture like this where I have allowed that empty space or left that empty space. And it's kind of the perfect place to put a title. You could also, if you have a photo that has empty space, you could die cut or Cricut cut your title and put it right on top. But I love how easy it is when you just print the photo with the title already on it. I have some of the ephemera has gold foil, and then I also die cut some textured gold foil paper as well. These metallic gems are some of my favorite. They are faceted. Hopefully you can see that. They're sort of faceted, almost like a nail head, but they add quite a bit of twinkle, and they come in 3 metallic colors, 2 different sizes, all in one pack. And I have multiple packs because I always find myself reaching for these when I'm not sure what embellishment I want to use. Find they come in super handy. Clustering the ephemera like I did sure makes scrapbooking fast and easy. I didn't do any stamping on here, which is very rare for me. I usually almost always stamp, die cut, those kinds of things on my layouts, but this one came together pretty quickly. The only thing I die cut was these gold banners. And the rest, everything else, is ephemera. Both the joyful sayings and the joyful images ephemera, I believe, is what I used for this layout. And I think the images one is sold out, but the joyful sayings is still in the last chance section. Now, if you're wondering where my journaling is going, it's going to go right here. Hopefully I can fit it all right there. If I have more to say, I can always squeeze in a little bit up here or even more down here. That's it for Christmas. And guess what, guys? I only have one winter layout. I haven't scrapbooked pretty much any winter pictures this year, which is crazy. I usually always do at least a few layouts. And this is the only one. This is only about 2 videos back on my channel. It was all about texture, and I used this beautiful wood grain textured paper. And I did stitching. I added stitching right onto my photos and made all these little snowflakes. We have ink blending on the background here. We have some metallic splatter and some stamping and die cutting right from the pattern paper, as well as some ripping. So lots going on this single page layout. It's kind of hard to believe that this is my only winter page. I do have some other really cute photos from this same time that my friend Michelle took. I might insert a Pocket Plus and then another single page layout on the other side, either also winter or something different. But that's a good way to divide up your single page layouts if you don't like them kind of side by side. If you're doing a Pocket Plus, it can go right in the middle. And one side of the Pocket Plus, kind of the front side, can coordinate with the page that I have not made yet. And then when you flip it over, the back side will be the pictures that coordinate with this story. And I will link this video for you down below if you want to go check it out, see how all that stitching and everything came together. All right, now we are going to go to some fall layouts. So kind of working backwards a little bit here through the seasons. These are some fall pages that I made for a scrapbooking workshop. I have that video here on my channel. I loved creating this workshop, and in the video I go into detail showing you how I did all the treatment on the leaves. I also have some foil paper mixed in, my title and my leaves. I actually put the photos on these layouts right after I did it. Sometimes when I do blank layouts that are for workshop guides, they kind of sit for a while with no photos, but I had photos in mind when I was making these. And I love this simple grid style where I have like the spaces in between. It feels like it really breaks up all the busy patterns, and they're the perfect landing spots for my leaf clusters here. I also have these beautiful gems on here, kind of glowy, a nice glowy yellow. And then we have some stamped little sentiments on die cut pieces. The collection that this was done with is the Regal Winter, but as soon as I saw it, I thought those would make beautiful fall pages. I haven't even used it for winter at all. I have only used it for fall. If you haven't picked up this leaf set, it's called Changing Leaves, and it has a hybrid folder, embossing folder that embosses and die cuts at the same time, as well as a coordinating stamp. I mostly used the embossing folder with the die for my layouts here, but that set is in the last chance section. So if you haven't got a chance to pick it up yet, it is such a good one. And I've used them fall leaves here, but since then I've used them so many other ways. I've used them on masculine cards, I've used them for sympathy cards, and on just like everyday kind of layouts. I have some of the stamps in the background here. And then we have our die cut title using the mini alphabet dies. Really love the size of these because it's easy to do a long title and still fit it in a relatively small space. I was so happy to have some fall pages that actually worked with her little purple snowsuit. It was getting a little bit cold. I loved the snowsuit. I had 2 different sizes for her. She wore it for several years, so I have a lot of pictures with purple in it. So it worked out really good that it coordinated with the colors in this pack. Got more of those beautiful shimmery and shiny leaves. They really are kind of the star of the show on this page. And if you are wanting to get your hands on this guide, it is still available on my website. This is the 3rd layout, possibly my favorite because it is showcasing my birthday. But more big clusters of those sparkly leaves. We got some paper tearing just to make it a little bit more textured. Inking on the edges. You see we got white in our background here again. White bases are just my go-to and I love them so much. This was fun because my friends Michelle and Wendy threw a little birthday party for me. We had beautiful cake and beautiful dinner, and then we did some painting. So this was when it was kind of all the rage to take paintings and like make them holiday, make them Halloween. So we took some regular pictures that Michelle had printed out and we painted them to be Halloween pictures. And they actually turned out really good, really good. So fun memories. I still need to add my journaling here. That will be going down here in strips. And depending on how much I have to say, I might add some here as well, or even right here. I always like to leave spots open in case I have a lot to say and I need to squeeze more in. Sometimes my journaling is planned out ahead, but usually not. It's usually kind of the last thing that happens in my process. Okay, now we are starting the Autumn to Remember scrapbooking workshop. So this is another one that I did on Zoom with my customers, and I did change some things up. At this point, I don't remember exactly everything that I changed, but I do have a video on my channel where I show all the layouts. So if you want to see more in depth about that, you can go check out that video. But I do know I added more of the leaves. That was not part of the original design. I love how it turned out with these big leaf clusters. This is actually a layout all about baking, but baking is something that we do a lot in the fall and winter. So I figured it would work with the theme of the page. I don't think it always has to be like fall photos with leaves in it and you're outside. It can also just be things that you usually do in the fall, even if the background doesn't kind of scream that. Now I had extra pictures from this day. So what I did was I put them in flip flaps, and they are going to be going on here once I put this into my page protectors, into my album. They will go on the outside. I really like that I included the recipe straight out of the book. That is definitely part of the memories. Here is another one from the Autumn to Remember Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. And I really added more leaves. I could not stop with these leaves. I'm telling you, that changing leaf set is just so good. And I brought in some of this, I think it's called Oxidized Copper specialty paper. And it basically has like some browns and coppers in it, kind of like speckled and kind of distressed looking, which worked out perfectly with my pages. I did ink the edges on pretty much everything. I love this paperboard title. It actually has a wood grain printed on it. And you can only get these pieces if you purchase the kit, which is actually in the last chance section at a really good discount right now. Last Autumn to Remember. So the workshop kits always have 3 double page layouts. And typically I always make these with my customers on Zoom each month. And it's a fun time for us just to hang out, craft together. Lots of times I will switch things up and change things around. I believe here these pieces were supposed to be over more, but I pushed them to the center to kind of help the whole thing flow a little bit more. And again, bringing in more of those leaves, and we have some of the paperboard leaves as well. And just makes for some really interesting clusters. These ones here are printed die cuts that come only in the kit. Same with this kind of overlay background, that also comes in the kit, and the tags. So it's worth it to look at if you're looking at compared to like a paper pack or paper with sticker sheets, or if you're looking at a workshop kit, what the differences are, read the description of what comes in it, because lots of times you're going to get some special things that come in the workshop kits that you can't get anywhere else. I quite like this grouping with these little 3x3s and then a 4x6 on the end. I need to remember that design because I like how that looks. I believe this page was only supposed to have 1 or 2 photos, but I am notorious for trying to stick in more photos. So I usually do that with these workshop kits, find ways to sneak in even just a few extras. Now this one is a video on my channel. I had a few leftovers from this kit. Actually, I think this is part of the same video where I go through those layouts I just showed you, and I actually make this layout on there. So I have used that changing leaves set again, this time all in white, and I just glued them onto a sheet of white cardstock. I love how textured it is, but also just subtle and kind of elegant. It's a technique that I've done a few different times with a few different dyes, and I really like it. I think the key with it is to make sure you go off the edges, use liquid glue, and then go around and trim off with your scissors anything that hangs over once they're dry. And it just gives you this look like it's embossed paper, like it came that way, rather than having all your leaves just end within the boundaries of the page. We have more double matting here. Sometimes it's hard to find the exact right color to matte your photos to make them stand out. Like I wanted the depth of the dark brown, but it made my photos too blah. So I needed that little 1/8 inch border of the white just to help the photos pop. I'm really glad that I got these photos scrapbooked. I wasn't too sure what I was going to put this on because she had some strange colors on her shirt for like fall pictures, but it all worked out. I think it turned out really good. And I did manage to work in my little visual triangle with the leaves, 3 different places. And I think 4 photos on a single page layout is not bad. That's pretty good. Now we have the Halloween Memories Scrapbooking Workshop Kit. So I have 3 double page layouts from that kit as well. Again, a few things have been changed up. I'm pretty sure I squeezed in extra photos here. This was such a fun collection. It is also still available on the website. So if you love the idea of kits, these ones can still be picked up. This one is also in need of journaling. The kit came with all these die cut pieces, stickers to bring all this together. So it was actually pretty easy. I did some like faux stitching with a black pen and then echoed that over on this side as well. Got the candy haul in here from trick-or-treating, and then also some room for journaling. That is something that is next on my to-do list. Set some time aside to sit down and do some journaling. This is the next layout from that kit, and I really love how we have the stacks of books. This was a pattern paper that has like stacks and stacks of books, and you just cut like the strips out to put them on, and I love how that looks. This paper is really nice, and it's an exclusive in the scrapbooking workshop. It could be used for all kinds of things. I also brought in some stamps. I believe that set is called Potions and Spells, that has the bubbles, and there's a cauldron and little bottles to make potions. And then there's also a scrapbooking set, and that is the Halloween Memories stamp set. That is designed for scrapbooking, and that's where the title came from for that. These little skunks are actually a close to my heart set, and it was a stamp of the month. And I wasn't sure when I got it. I'm like, how often am I going to use this? Well, Isabella went through this phase where she was like obsessed with skunks. I had stories about skunks. She wanted to dress as a skunk for Halloween. So I actually got good use out of this set. You can see I added some shading with my alcohol markers to them, but pretty easy to color. Got bubbles, we got splatters stamped on the background. Even if it's just like subtle like splatter stamps, I usually bring stamps in quite a bit on my layouts. We got some stinky bubbles behind our little skunk guy here. Stickers and papers from the collection. More bubbles down here with some little potions from the sticker sheet, and one more skunk, of course. And this saying is from that skunk set. And the journaling is going to be going right here. I love grid paper because it makes adding journaling so easy. You've already got lines. All right, this is the last one from that kit. This is also an exclusive paper. There's really good exclusive papers in this workshop kit. I love the spider webs all along there. This one I haven't stuck down because I'm going to do my journaling on here. This was kind of a picture with like nothing happening right here. I just wanted to show her super exhausted little face. Like she's so wiped out, my little skunk. And so I'm going to cover up that side of the photo with some journaling. And this is where that Potion and Spells set came in. I used it a lot. I die cut the little bubbles from a shimmery white cardstock. I mixed in some books from the pattern paper. This is a sticker. And then for the bottles, the dies actually cut the bottles and the little inside parts for them as well. I stuck them on. I used some white gel pen to add a little shine line. And then I covered them in liquid glass so they are shiny. Love how that looks. We got the potions pouring into the cauldron and the drips coming out. I layered these sticker strips and this big sticker over top of the photo. Again, it never hurts to have photos that have like these awkward spaces because you can fill it up with embellishments, which is always fun. I did manage to work in one little skunk over here. And then we have our title, and I have room to do a few more lines of journaling under here as well. And I die cut this little drip design twice and put it under the photo. I thought that looked really fun. And then I also brought it up here and layered it over my photo. So we got lots of layering over top photos on here. I don't always do that. This one, I actually created this section because I didn't have a 4x4 photo. It looked better as a 3x4, so put a smaller photo and then just filled up the extra areas. Plus, I wanted to bring what I had done here over to here. It's always a good idea to use the same pieces, same colors somewhere else. Same with the potion bottles. By having this up here, it coordinates and ties in with the potion bottles that are down there. These are such fun layouts, and I love being able to look back at all of these memories. Now I'm going to bring in some travel layouts. So these are from holidays that we've taken. This is a very recent layout. I encourage you to go watch this video on my channel if you haven't watched it already. This was kind of a new style that I was trying out and I love it. I want to make more layouts like this. Like, I had so much fun putting this together. I'm not exactly sure what it is about it that I love so much. I mean, I got lots of stamping in here. I got stamped clouds, a stamped title. I brought in some Stampin' Up! Images. I brought in some close to my heart ones from my stash. I even managed to squeeze in some pattern paper. My little photo frames here are from the Cricut. And then I have some paperboard accents, more stamping, got stamps here, more of the paperboard, some die cut tags with my favorite linen thread, and some photo strip here. I just love these kind of like mini collages of photos and a ton of journaling. So I use that Avery matte label paper to do my journaling. I kind of go over that a little bit more in that video, but look at how much story I'm fitting in here. This was really based on the idea of a travel journal. I was able to fit so many photos, so many stories, and even some room for embellishments. So I feel like the design really allowed for so many different elements to be on the page, but it still has a nice flow to it. This was Isabella's first time flying, so there was a lot of stories to tell. There was some mishaps, some different things that happened, and it was fun to just kind of recap the whole flying part of this trip. I would encourage you, if you haven't tried a style like this before, give it a shot because it is really fun. Now here is a layout from that trip. So we went to Hawaii on a trip that my husband earned through his work. And this was one of our times down at the beach playing in the ocean. I was super impressed that she wasn't too scared to get down and like roll around in the waves and have a good time. I used a combination of the Beauty of the Deep stamps and dies, as well as the Seaside Wishes dies for these little sand dollars. And then these smaller ones are from Close to My Heart. So we got quite a collection in here. And then I believe this stamp set was from my collection as well, from a Close to My Heart set. And it's just like a little postage cancellation mark, but it was kind of the perfect accent for this corner. I've done this a couple times and I really like just having a little bit of stamping coming in. I did ink my edges quite a bit on here, as well as inking my title and just blending the color like most of the way up. I left some of the white showing at the top. And this is a Cricut cut title. Again, I did another one of those similar designs where I just left gaps between the photos because I have just plain paper in the background. I didn't feel like I needed to map my photos because I wasn't trying to make them stand out against anything. They really stand out well against the background anyways. And they are really beautiful outdoor photos with bright colors in them. So they can really stand on their own. I did cut a photo in half. You can see I didn't cut anybody in half when I did it. So that is kind of key when you're planning out a layout like this where you're going to split. Just make sure that you're not cutting something important. There's no person standing at that point in the photo. I also do postbound albums, so these are only going to be like maybe that far away from each other, maybe even closer once they get into my album. And I do have some more stamps. This is from a Close to My Heart set. This is from my stash of like stickers and ephemera and things. You can see I brought in more of that kind of corner stamping over here. And these pearls, these are some of my favorite embellishments, if not the favorites, when I'm doing kind of like ocean themed or vacation themed layouts. These are called flat adhesive-backed pearls. They are iridescent, so they go with all kinds of things. Hopefully you can see the change in color. They're kind of pinky, purpley, blue, whitish, like they're really iridescent and really pretty. And they're kind of like oblong shaped and not too thick. So they're nice for layouts, but I think they look so good with these clusters. I've used them a few times on layouts where I have like pictures of the ocean and the beach and stuff. The paper I used on here, I forget the name of the collection, but it is an older Close to My Heart collection. But the photos are kind of the main attraction. So the pattern paper's there, but it's not really like the star of the show. We have a layout here. There is a video on my channel for this one as well. And this is the Country Woods paper. I've used it a few times for vacation layouts and I love it. This design in particular is perfect for that. And I was able to fit in a huge photo. This is basically 8.5 by 11, as large as my printer will print. And isn't that just gorgeous? I love using large photos. They're so fun. I even stamped right on my photo. I like to use semi-gloss or pearl finish photo paper, so it has a bit of a shine. It makes the colors look really rich, but you don't have that reflection of a gloss paper. I also used my favorite linen thread and did like little bunches of it to tuck under the embellishments. And I even rubbed some stickles, some gold stickles on my little sand dollars to give them a little twinkle. We have more of those pearls. We have the stamps and the dies from the Seaside Wishes bundle. This is another one that has the hybrid embossing folder, so it die cuts and embosses at the same time. Lots going on here. And I think this frame, I think it's a close to my heart one, and I die cut it and double layered it. So I had a darker one and then this lighter one. I wrapped the linen thread around and just stacked those up together. I really love creating big clusters. It's so much fun. And I think it has so much more impact when you cluster your embellishments like that. I have a little like splatter stamp going on in the background here. The plain white was feeling a little bit plain, so I wanted to kind of extend those clusters a little bit. We have another stamp up here. And then more of those frames, just using some of the paper from the Country Woods paper pack. It's going to be a sad day when this paper pack retires. It's in the annual catalog currently, and it's definitely a go-to. I've reached for it many times. We got a little bit of journaling down here and just lots of clustering, lots of beautiful detail. We got the glitter still on the sand dollars. And I think this big photo is definitely the star of the show, and it makes me want to keep using big photos on my pages. This is a layout that you probably have not seen before. It is one that I did in the Creative Design Team membership. So we did lots of like mixed media, textured fun, inky, stamping. This is texture paste down here. And then we have a lot of stickers and pattern papers from an older Close to My Heart collection. The name of it escapes me right now. I'm sure someone will remember and put it down in the comments. It has Christmas on one side and like tropical Christmas on one side and just plain tropical on the other side. I brought in more of those die cut frames. I love that little like Polaroid frame. This was from one of the Close to My Heart incentive trips to Maui. This was our first time in Maui, and it was a beautiful trip. It was actually the first time that I met Crafty Concepts with Erin in person, and that was a lot of fun. We even have some metallic stenciling. We have splatter. There's stamping in here, so there's a lot of texture going on here. And I did work on top of the Vicki Boutin foundation pages. If you like doing mixed media, you want to add texture paste and ink and sprays and all those kinds of things to your layouts, highly recommend that paper as your base. It is super thick. It is pretty white. It's not as bright white as the cardstock that I usually use, the white Willow from Stampin' Up, but it is pretty white. And it handles all that kind of messy media really well. Okay, my friends, I have still another whole stack of layouts to go through with you. That's going to have to wait for our next video because this one has already gotten too long. You can check out all my layout share videos in this playlist. And then once the next video is live, I will link it here for you as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.